Hello, is this your vehicle, sir?
Agent Dingle, it is time for your annual Border Patrol training. Today we will talk about the intricacies of your job at checkpoints that are not on the border.
Okay. But first, I need to run the drug dog around you to ensure that you smell like an American citizen.
Actually, you do not, Agent Dingle. You see, we are not at a checkpoint right now.
I can't hear you. You need to step out of your vehicle.
Agent Dingle, I'm not in a vehicle. I'm from the Border Patrol headquarters in Washington, D.C., and I'm here to give you annual Border Patrol refresher training.
I will have to call my supervisor. If you hang tight, he'll be here in no more than an hour and 45 minutes.
Okay, we can sort this out when he gets here. In the meantime, let's start your training. First, Agent Dingle, can you tell me how does a Border Patrol checkpoint on the border differ from a checkpoint that is not on the border?
I don't have to tell you all my little articulable facts as to how those checkpoints differ.
I see. Well, let me explain. At the border, the checkpoint separates Americans from non-Americans. At a checkpoint that is not on the border, and which can be as much as 100 miles from any border, the checkpoint does not separate Americans from non-Americans. Does that make sense?
Well, here's the deal. You have to roll down your window if you want to have a conversation.
Agent Dingle, again, I'm not in a vehicle, so I do not have a window to roll down.
I can't hear you. The traffic noise, the wind, the canines.
Agent Dingle, I know you can hear me. Let's continue. Now that you know how a suspicionless checkpoint differs from a border checkpoint, let's talk about your duty while at such a checkpoint. Why don't you tell me in your own words, what is your job at this checkpoint?
I can't hear you.
But I can hear you perfectly fine, Agent Dingle.
Yeah, of course, you don't have the wind noise, the canines, the sounds of airplanes, bugs flying by, ants walking wearing high heels, the noise of electrons smashing into each other, and the tune of Hawaii 5-0 playing in your head.
I see. Well, your duty at these checkpoints is very simple, and not as involved as the Hawaii 5-0 television series. Your duty is, and please listen, is to briefly determine immigration status. That's it. Nothing else. Now tell me, what is your job at a checkpoint not on the border?
I can't hear you.
But I can hear you, Agent Dingle. We are having a conversation which indicates that you can hear me too.
Well, here's the deal. If you don't recall, there was a satellite flying overhead, and several hundred miles below the Earth's crust, plate tectonics were ongoing with masses of molten substance shifting, the traffic, the wind noise, the canines.
Okay, Agent Dingle. That makes sense. I hear it now. Fortunately, the Border Patrol headquarters has trained me for instances like this. In a moment, I will count down from 3. When you hear me count down to 1, all noises will be silenced, except the two of us talking. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Can you hear me?
Yes. I can hear you now. There is no longer sounds of bees attacking my body, or wild women dancing around an ancient African fire, and I no longer hear the gases swirling on the far side of Jupiter. The answer to your question, concerning my duty at a suspicionless checkpoint, is to briefly determine immigration status.
Excellent, Agent Dingle. That is outstanding. Now please tell me, how do you go about determining immigration status when a citizen stops at your checkpoint?
I ask them if the vehicle they are driving belongs to them. If the driver is a male, I ask him if he enjoys long walks on the beach. I follow up by asking if he enjoys listening to the culture club and if he has ever spent time in a Turkish prison. If the driver is female, I ask if she is hosting a Tupperware party and ask if I can attend.
But how do any of those questions possibly help you determine immigration status, Agent Dingle?
Well, here's what we can do. You're going to need to give me your identification and I will need to inspect it to make sure it's a valid ID.
I see. You want to role play in order to show me exactly how you determine immigration status. I will play along. Here is my driver's license and my customs ID. Have you determined I'm an American citizen now?
Well, define what that means.
You have a driver's license.
That doesn't matter.
You have my customs ID.
Those aren't immigration documents.
Then why did you specifically ask for them, Agent Dingle, if they don't mean anything?
Look, if you don't know the law.
I do know the law, which is why I'm here, to give you your annual training, Agent Dingle.
Well, here's the deal. The reason you are over here is because I was having a hard time hearing you, and you were being evasive about answering my questions.
Which question did I not answer, Agent Dingle? We can rewind this cartoon video and see that I answered all your questions.
I didn't say you didn't answer, I said you were being evasive about answering.
Okay, which question did I evade?
I didn't say you evaded the question, I said you were being evasive about answering the question. There is a big difference.
I see. You really have a gift with words, Agent Dingle.
I don't need a gift with words to detain you for an immigration violation. That's why you're being detained.
So you're saying I violated immigration law?
I didn't say you violated immigration law.
Agent Dingle, do you understand basic grammar? If you say you don't need something to detain me for an immigration violation, followed by saying that's why you're being detained, then you in fact have just stated that I have been detained for an immigration violation, which means that you are saying I violated immigration law. This is something a person should understand with a third grade level of language comprehension.
The traffic, the wind noise, the canines.
Let me make this simple for you, Agent Dingle. Would you like a passport?
Are you an American citizen?
Yes.
Why didn't you answer me earlier?
Because you never asked me if I was an American citizen until just now.
Well, here's the deal. After my supervisor gets here in an hour and a half, he will come over and transparently lie about not being able to hear you too. Then he will look at your 2 forms of identification, and will hold your 2 passports in his hands, tell you that he will inspect them, and have you on your way.
Well, Agent Dingle, why could you not do the same thing? Does it really take supervisor training to learn how to read a passport? Or have you been suspended from passport reading duty because of your language comprehension challenges?
You need to brush up on your law. After the supervisor tells you he will inspect your passports, he will then decide to waste more of your time and involve the customs agency and your supervisor by grilling you about who your boss is, and then calling them and making wild accusations about you.
Then what will happen, Agent Dingle?
Then all of us agents will huddle together, try to get our story straight, realize that the video caught us lying several times, failing to ask about immigration status, and being wholly uninterested when you asked us if we wanted a passport. After we come to terms with the fact we had no concern for your immigration status, which is the only thing we are tasked to determine at these checkpoints, we will then waste more of your time attempting to get you in trouble at your place of employment. Finally, we will then thank you for your cooperation, say that we understand if you don't want to roll your window down all the way, and end the unlawful seizure with a happy advisory on the dangers of driving on the highway. We will then engage government lawyers to defend the Border Patrol against the lawsuit resulting from our blatant and multifaceted violation of the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, wasting more taxpayer money, while at the same time further eroding the rights of the American citizens who pay our bills.
I see, Agent Dingle. Border Patrol agents such as yourself make the guards in the Holy Grail look like geniuses. I think at this point we will call our training complete, and I will fly back to Washington, D.C., and then promptly kill myself. It's one thing to see such stupidity in a cartoon, and quite another to see it in real life. To understand what I mean, simply go to YouTube and search on Border Patrol, military, and Texas. This situation is like a clown on fire. Kind of funny, kind of sad,